Hello, Renee Flamont here. You guys, there's only one way that I can think of in stopping the cycle before it even starts. There's only one way. And I've been working with this channel this whole time to get it so that people can spot the narcissist and not enter into the arrangement from the beginning. From the beginning. And it's still happening to people, and people are still falling for it. And I think it's vital to discuss if you can spot a narcissist now or not. Because if you can spot a narcissist at this point with all of the education, right? If you can spot a narcissist, then you are 85 steps ahead of entering into the cycle with them. Because I want you to learn to spot it right away in their person. And you might say, well, how do you know if they're a narcissist or not? You haven't been through the cycle with them. There are things, and we don't want to make any errors, right? We don't want to go through life thinking every single person that says something nice to us, oh, they're love bombing me, they have narcissistic personality disorder, or they, we don't want to think of everybody as having narcissistic personality disorder who doesn't. But we also don't want to miss one if they do have it. We don't want to not see it if it is there, right? For example, some people just talk about themselves. So they're that narcissistic adjective that we all learned years and years ago. They talk about themselves. They don't give equal airtime. They're good people. You might have a friend who's like this. They don't go through the devalue. They don't have this disorder, but they might be narcissistic people. It happens. Somebody's head is all twisted up in their own stuff and they just don't stop to ask about you. It doesn't mean they're evil. They might be slightly concerned with their own path. Some people call it self-centered. Some people call it narcissistic. Some people call it whatever. Doesn't mean they have the disorder. What you can see and learn and spot to stop the cycle before you ever get in it, to stop it before it starts, you have to stop it at the love bombing stage. It's your first introduction. It's your initial contact with this person, and it is where they hook you. If it were not, you would never enter into it. Now, there's a lot involved here. You also have to uphold, if you have set boundaries for yourself and you are upholding them from meeting one, date one, interaction one, you have in your list a list of qualities you want in a person, or things that maybe you want them to be at a certain place in life, right? Where they live alone, they're self-sustaining, whatever your list is, right? When you meet somebody, the first thing that I didn't do properly was I ignored my whole list. We're going to get to the love bombing in a second, because that's where you stop it. But even before he opened his mouth, I ignored my whole list. As you find things out about a person, maybe you even knew it, maybe you meet them online and you learn about things, and then you already know they probably don't meet half of your... I knew from date one a few things that he didn't reach that were on my list. I ignored those because he started right in with the love bombing. So let's get to that. Started right in, charming me, making me feel like I was so wanted there, making me feel like all he wanted was my company. When can I see you again? You're everything I've been looking for. All of the things that somebody who was maybe coming off, and maybe this could be your situation, you're coming off a bad breakup, hurt feelings, a period of being alone. Any of these things can make you feel really desperate to hear such wonderful language being bestowed upon you, right? And somebody might say, well, how can you tell? How can you tell when trying to decide whether or not it's love bombing and not something real? How can you tell? A big thing is that if it is real, the person will not steamroll over you. Think that all the way through. If they're approaching you with the desperation of having to have every minute filled with you, your company, you have to think about, what is the narcissist trying to forget? Who's doing that? Right? Many of you have to see one person to get over another person. Some people have to do that. Some people have to be alone. So many of you have experienced where you're trying to fill up your day with anything because you're trying to get over your narcissist. Let's use that for an example. Well, a narcissist does that with other people. So if he's coming off, or she, a bad breakup, not that they're brokenhearted, they probably can't feel that like we do, but they're inconvenienced, they've been dumped, discarded, maybe something just blew up for them. They're going to come at you hard. It's distracting them from their life. That minute to minute to minute to minute, we went from I didn't know you yesterday and now you want 24/7. How do I know he doesn't just love me? Well, if he did, and you put up the parameters and you count on boundaries you've set for yourself, which is don't dive in so fast. That should be one. If you've been in a relationship with somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, that tells me that you're prone maybe to pick one again, and that there's something about you that they gravitate towards. So we have to be extra vigilant. Stopping it in the love bombing has worked for me 3 times in 10 months. Any of the dates that I went on, and I've talked to you about that, right? I went on about 3 dates. Each one just one lunch. No, 2 lunches with one person. No matter how much I told all 3 of them, I'm moving slowly. Every single one of them thought we were in a relationship after the first date. That told me, along with things they were texting me, things they were saying. I wasn't saying any of those things back. How can you feel all that? I just met you. So my new logical, trained, educated, empowered brain doesn't look at it like, oh my God, he said all those things. You wouldn't believe what he said. Yes, I know. I got in my car and I was thinking, whoa, that's a lot for date 1. And that's not right. How can he feel that? He doesn't even know me. And you might say, well, maybe he fell in love for sight. If any of them did fall in love at first sight, they would have peppered out their communication after I said, no, this is not the pace with which I'm going. They would still be contacting me, or they would have been some follow through after. I'm sorry, I'll step back. You did explain that, but there's a million things a guy could come back and say who isn't disordered. So if somebody gets too excited and they fell in love with you, they're not disordered. They're of the normal set. Let's use just the word normal in an objective capacity for a minute, as to mean they don't have narcissistic personality disorder. So they're normal. You remind them of your parameters, they're going to step back. They're not going to steamroll over it and make you let them be in your life 24/7. That's what a person with narcissistic personality disorder does, because they have to take control of the situation. They want to take control of you immediately. They're trying to lure you in as quickly as they can. They don't want to waste any time. They want to know if you're a taker or not. So when I expressed to these other 3 unhealthy individuals, that's not working for me. The language they were using after lunch, meeting one meeting, first meeting. Date number 1, meeting. I call it, it's like a meeting when you're first meeting people. If you met them online, right? You're just meeting people. And they're trying to tell me that, no. They were either looking to fill a hole in their life with any kind of girlfriend. I came along. I'm half decent, right? Who knows how long they've been searching? Who knows their reasoning? I didn't like being steamrolled. So whether or not any one of the 3 of them have this disorder, I don't care. They're not in my life. But I knew enough to spot it was definitely love bombing language and behavior for date 1 in all 3 instances. and the texts and subsequent things that were following and surrounding it. Like we were like a couple, and that was it. A couple. I don't even know your last name yet. We ate lunch for an hour and a half. How is that a couple? So you want to look for that. And don't, young people new to this, you don't know, I would be the girl that got into the car, and I would allow myself to crush on them as well. And he said this, and isn't that, yeah, we're going to see each other. He wants to see me again, like right away. He wants to see me again tomorrow. Do you believe that? Instead, now I'm like, no, I'll see you in a few weeks. They didn't like my definition of slow. I don't know what they thought that meant. Snail's pace to me seems very... And, of course, I'm very open, and I explain, we have to get to know each other as people, and da-ba-ba-ba-ba. If somebody's not willing to do that, that is somebody you want to stay clear of. That's somebody that you can spot as this personality trait that is very common with people with narcissistic personality disorder. I don't want to stick around to find out if they really have it. Why? So I could fall in love and do my normal pattern, and then they start to devalue, and then you can't break up because you're stuck in it and you're trauma bonded. I can avoid the whole thing. Head it off at the pass. Because if you don't see these signs in the beginning, in love bombing, in them steamrolling you, in them not paying attention to your parameters or boundaries you've set, if you don't see that, you'll enter into it maybe. And the more time you spend with them, the less likely you'll get out of it, or it's going to be more difficult to get out of it. Once they get in, it's very hard to shake them, because now they've loved bombed you to the point that you let them in and you're telling them you love, and now you've convinced yourself you love them too. You're already in. They are free to devalue you at any moment. You're invested. They got you. They hooked you in love bombing. That's what happens. If they didn't, we would never be around to be devalued. Like those 3 dates. I don't know if they were the type of men that would continue on and actually have the disorder. I couldn't possibly diagnose them. I met them each once, one guy twice. But I definitely recognize steamrolling when I see it, and I definitely recognize love bombing when I see it, and I definitely recognize dominating the conversation, making it one-sided when I see it. So all those things happen during the love bombing stage. Somebody crashing through your parameters. Big, huge thing that the narcissistic personality disorder person does. They want to see if you'll let them. They want to test the waters. How hard are these boundaries? How hard are these parameters? Yeah, let me give it a go. Boom. And you'll knock them down. Why? Because they'll serve it with a side of really sweet and sappy commentary. Falls under the umbrella of love bombing. The way that it's kind of like, I think of when they tell you in crime shows and all of this, they always say, do whatever you have to do to not let the criminal take you to point B, the secondary location. Do whatever if somebody God forbid, picked you up on the street in a van. When I used to run, I never wore headphones. And I would run going against the traffic because I didn't want a van pulling up beside me and kidnapping me. 5 a.m., dark, Providence, any city, right? No, I didn't want that. So I would always be aware. But I always thought and remembered, they tell you, kick, scream, thrash, run away. Well, they might kill me. Yeah, well, they take you to the secondary location, your chances go down considerably that you'll even ever be found again. They say make a scene, pitch a fit. Don't let them stay at that primary location, point A. Well, the narcissist's point A is the love bombing. The minute you let him take you through that and you've decided, okay, I'm going to be with this guy, maybe you're not hearing it as love bombing, maybe you were particularly open to want to receive this kind of language, maybe he's really, really, really good at it. I don't care. A simple little litmus test you could do is to say, right when it's new. I told you I'm going a lot more slowly than that. You might think he's so charming. You're dying to see him Friday. It's Thursday. You want to see him the next night. He's going to make yourself say no. A simple test of that. Don't text them every time they text you. Don't text them right back. Don't call them right back. Don't be available 24/7. It's another thing they want. They ring the phone. You're supposed to pick it up. They text you. You're supposed to text them back. I started to get put off by that. I'm like, I have a life. He doesn't know anything about me. I could be dating 3 people at the same time for all he knows. But he wasn't talking to me like that. I have one of the 3 dates in mind right now. Sending me 1,000 pictures of renovations going on in his house. I don't even know you. Never been to your house. Why all the pictures about your renovations? I understand you're proud. That's fine, but isn't that something you would show to somebody that you got to know? Again, it's very early in the relationship for such heavy, unified language. And I'm doing this over here for Minnie, he said. In this corner is where Minnie will be. And like, I took that as a sign that this guy's not going to, and I was right. As those conversations persisted, I tested the waters, and he was not going to not let me have, he was not going to let me have my parameters and boundaries and everything in place that I want. Goodbye. Stop it before it starts. Stop it before it starts! Just try to see. There's so many things we can watch for that tip us off. There are so many things, and we've discussed a lot of them on this channel from in all the different videos. But I want you to keep in mind, if they are steamrolling over what you might announce to be your pace, what's the reason for their desperation? They didn't fall flat on their face in love with you from day one. That's not why they're desperate to be with you. They're trying to shake something off from behind them. Or fill in their loneliness right away. And like I said, you might be halfway decent. I'm halfway decent. Maybe they were lonely. Maybe they were, I don't know. But I'm not being steamrolled by anybody. I don't like that quality in a person. And narcissistic personality disorder people carry that. And it happens during love bombing. If you can train yourself to spot a narcissist, you can avoid a lot of trouble. Not just partner. Remember, you get involved with people all throughout your life. You get a new job. Who's chumming up to you in the new job? Are they a person with narcissistic personality disorder? Watch for that, because in a workplace, they'll climb over anybody. They'll sell their mother to get to the top. So you still want to be able to spot one in a workplace, in a friendship, and the love bombing and the steamrolling over boundaries come in many forms. It might sound like this with a coworker. Wow, you're smart. I understand they hired you right away. Yeah, I heard them talking about how bright you are. They might not have heard anything. They're love bombing you. They're buttering you up so that they can be your mate. For whatever reason, they have a cohort now. Come to lunch with us, Rogo. You might say, no, I just sit at my desk during lunch. I have a yogurt. Oh, come on. Before you know it, you're going out to lunch with them, spending $20 a day you didn't have. They steamrolled your boundary. Your boundary is you eat at your desk. You have a yogurt. They're steamrolling it. And you're taking it in as, oh, they're accepting me. That's what a person with this disorder does. They charm you to bring you into their web so that they can use whatever and get whatever they want from you and then discard you when they're finished. It can happen anywhere. And stopping it before it starts is your best bet. Don't let them take you to the secondary location. Please don't. I know it's a weird and it's a terrible, it really is a terrible thought. But the crime shows teach you that. So think of that with the narcissist or anybody that you're meeting. If something's off in you and you're interacting with this person, who's to say you can't go at a snail's pace? It will reveal to you what kind of person they are. Just wanted to mention this. I thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and hit sub, like, and share, and I'll see you next time.